Good evening, Facebook fans and all you viewers out there. I am so excited about our interview this evening, and my name is Valerie Bernard, and we're coming to you live from Dallas, Texas, and Los Angeles, California. And on the line with me this evening is the one, the only, Harold Stolovitch. Harold, how are you today?
I'm terrific. Thank
Oh,
you. Busy day.
busy. I'm sure you're busy traveling around and doing all that amazing work that you do. We're so delighted that you took a few minutes out of your busy schedule to spend some time tonight to let our viewers learn a little bit more about the exciting things that we've got going on at ISPI. And I understand that our conference is coming up in Montreal and that you are going to be our master of ceremonies.
Yeah, I, you know, I'm kind of a little bit in shock, but then I figured it out. I'm totally fluent in both French and English. So given that we're doing it in Montreal, which is, of course, just an amazing city, having both local people who are more French-speaking than English-speaking, and then people from all over the place, using both languages, I guess, we'll try to make it a friendly tone, and then I understood, yeah, I probably am an appropriate person for this.
Oh, I would say more than appropriate. I learned today when I was doing a little bit of background search on you that's actually your home city. Is this true?
That's true. Montreal's is where I was born, and the university where I taught in Montreal, the Université de Montréal, is the world's largest French language university and big international university. And between teaching there and teaching at USC, bouncing between the two, was perfect balance for me. But Montreal is kind of like a warm spot.
I'm excited to be there myself. It'll be my first time in Montreal, and I'm just excited that you're going to be our master of ceremonies as well. And another thing that I want to make sure I get this right, so I'm going to look at my notes. I understand that you were the 2001 International Society for Performance Improvement winner for the Distinguished Professional Achievement Award, and you have also been the recipient of the International Society for Performance Improvement's highest award, which is Member for Life.
Yeah, those were very great on.
Yes, and so
Yeah.
I've been a member now of the society for 2 years, and I truly believe that I found my professional home 2 years ago at the conference in San Antonio, and you and I had a chance to meet briefly last year in Philadelphia. Let me ask you this. How long have you been involved with the International Society for Performance Improvement?
Just a little longer than 2 years. Actually, I counted 42 years. How's
40.
that?
Oh my goodness, 2 decades and a couple more years. Well,
Well,
anybody, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I started as a student. I was a doctoral student, and a group of us were um, given a lift to the conference. We were given, a special price because we helped out, and as a result, I stuck. you know.
Yes, wow. And we are so honored to have you to learn from, and you've just been such an amazing teacher. And even in my own life, I first learned of your books in early 2000, and I was working on a master's degree, and one of our course books was Telling Ain't Training, and I've been a fan ever since. And you've got some other books out there, Telling Ain't Performance and Beyond Telling Ain't Training Field book, and are there any projects that you're currently working on right now?
Um, I'm trying to wind everything down. It's time for other people to do things and, put the old guy out to pasture. But nevertheless, I'm involved in a couple of research projects and at the same time, writing a bit, revising some books, and trying to keep out of mischief as much as I can. I figured, hey, after over 50 years of doing this, it's time,
Well, I don't know. I heard a rumor from our board president of ISPI, Klaus Wittke, and he said that you were actually retiring. And then in the next meeting I had with him, he said you were going to be our master of ceremonies. And I said, I don't think that Dr. Stolovitch is going to retire anytime soon. Well,
We'll see. I like working with others and letting them do the work, and fading out into the sunset.
I'm sure after 42 years with ISPI, you must have some really fond memories. And I was just wondering if there might be a memory, one of your favorite memories or two that you'd like to share with our viewers this evening.
Well, probably, I'll give you two. There's 1,000, but two. The first one, as I said, I was a doctoral student, and in my final year of my PhD program, when I went to an actual ISPI conference. I'd been a member locally, but I went to the conference itself. And the memory that sticks out was all those wonderful people, like you were mentioning, you read my books. I had read so many articles and books of many others, got to meet them live, and as a result of that, my enthusiasm must have shown through, because they immediately said, hey, you know what, kid, climb aboard, we got work for you. And the next thing you know, I was given the next year's responsibilities in the next year's conference. I was invited to the homes of several of them, and just kind of wonderful learning opportunity. It was terrific for the contacts and the warmth and listening to the war stories while I was watching a couple of the what we used to call the old folks. That was when I was the kid. Trying to tie a knot in the stem of a cherry from a cocktail. That was the big thing. And it was who could be the best performer. So that's, those are great. The other is an ongoing memory in that's where I found my wife. In other words, Erica Keeps already, she also joined the same year I did. And but I didn't know her, but we met on the board, and we struck up a professional relationship, which later led to getting her involved in projects, and the next thing you know, I found my wife there.
Aww. So many great things.
Only 3 years ago,
How long has it been? I'm sorry.
Actually 34 years ago.
34 years ago. Well, I had a chance to meet Erica too in Philadelphia last year, and what a delight she is too. We'll have to get her on one of these interviews soon and hear from her too. But I agree with you. ISPI just offers so many things, especially the intimate relationship that you can have with some of the gurus in the field. And I feel the same way. I went to my first conference as a student assistant, and I got to work with Roger Addison, and it was just an honor working with him. And I said, if there's anything I can do to volunteer, let me know. I'd love to get involved. And the next thing I knew, I was involved. So
that's right. That's the way ISPI is. And what's interesting is, you join, you get elected positions, you get to do all the responsibilities there. And then after you've done that, then they get you to do the work.
Yes. I see. So this Master of Ceremonies role, what can we expect at this upcoming conference? What are you most excited about?
Well, I think, there's some keynote addresses that are really good. There's some master's sessions also that, will intrigue and inform. And it's great when, these are shared with people. I guess my main job is going to be to make people feel welcome and to wander about and answer questions. So I will be the master of ceremonies at large in a way too, besides just, doing some formal things, basically just to get to know people and encourage them to make connections with others.
Well, there couldn't be a better person for the job, that's for sure. So I can't wait to see you in Montreal.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering, in the field of performance improvement, are there any trends that we need to be on the lookout for this year, or do you think that people will be able to learn more about this at our conference?
What's interesting is that the whole idea of focusing on performance, which is systemic in nature, rather than, interventions that are individual interventions, most common way being training. But over the years, we've had so many fads. So one of the things that we can look forward to is hearing people with hard evidence that either supports certain types of interventions or blows them apart. ISPI has always been very good as a myth-breaking organization, and the people who work in it focus on, where's the beef type of thing. What is the essential that we're looking for, which is valued performance from costly behavior. That's really what we're at, and not like going after false wonders, whether they be electronic wonders or they be, neuroscience is contributing a great deal, and there'll be people talking about it, but they'll also be talking about neural mythology. In other words, like anything else, we get excited and then we find out that we've exaggerated and gone too far. So those are some things that we're working on and others are working on in our field, is trying to separate the wheat from the chaff. Looking at where the value really lies in the types of things that people get excited about. In terms of actual performance, improvement things, it's more, I would say, evolving and improving and progressing rather than coming out with drama. So trends in, for example, the areas of evaluation, or in terms of putting together systemically groups or baskets of interventions that make sense, and learning different ways to convince organizations that they shouldn't be just jumping on whatever the next bandwagon is. If I don't want to get into the specific types of things because, oh my goodness, every year we have seen so many, and we've already seen bandwagon blues very often.
I think one of the key things that that you just said that seems really important to me to reiterate is that ISPI is an evidence-based society, and so the work that's being done in this organization by our members and by the consultants is truly backed by research. Would you agree?
I agree, yeah, because if you take, I'm a member of ATD, and I like the organization. I've done a lot with them. But, year after year, you get new people coming in, and they're whatever the latest craze is, I don't know if, brain-based research is still, a theme that people are harping on. But, there are little bits and pieces that have truths. ISPI really filters those to see what really has an impact on helping people to perform well.
What's your thoughts on, I was in San Diego last week with representing ISPI, and it was the Training Magazine Expo, and I had the opportunity to talk to several hundred trainers. And if there was a message that you could send as far as the future of training and moving from becoming a trainer into more performance consulting, is there anything that you'd like to say about that today?
Well, the organizations that I've worked with, have worked with, and do work with, that is where we place the emphasis. Moving away from training and training order taking to actual performance consulting. And I think that's growing among organizations, simply by the number of inquiries I get, or people who meet me at conferences, and they're very enthusiastic about it. But it's still a hard nut to crack. You get a subject matter expert, they seem to be nice, and so company asks them to train, and they end up recounting war stories and, dumping information and focusing on telling rather than on actual performance improvement. So yeah, there is movement in that area, but my goodness, it's a little bit like we get enthusiastic about our hair or a shirt or a blouse or shoes or something of that nature, and we forget we need to also do many other things, including brush our teeth and put together an outfit that makes sense.
Yes. Well, thank you again so much, Harold, for joining us tonight and for sharing with us the exciting things that are be going on at the conference.
I guess, that's,
I think we're having a little technical.
If people will come to the conference, please, those who you read about or stuff you read of, or just if you have questions from people who look like they're experts, don't be afraid to approach them. ISPI has the most approachable people, and particularly if go out to dinner with them in Montreal, which is one of the dining capitals of the world, and I think you'll have a great time.
Well, thank you so much for this. And for our viewers, if you'd like more information, you can visit www.ispi.org. And you can also visit us on our Facebook page, and to the right on the back screen, you can see some of that contact information. And so we are ready to have you visit us in Montreal. We know it's going to be a lot of fun, but even greater than that, it's going to be a great learning experience, and you'll get the chance to see Harold Stolovitch as our Master of Ceremonies for 3 days in a row, and so it's bound to be amazing. And Harold, did you have anything?
Bienvenue à Montréal. Welcome to Montreal. I look forward to meeting all of you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Harold.
You're welcome.